Welcome everyone to today's story. We are about to embark on a journey that may seem simple on the surface, yet it holds profound values. It is a story about kinship, an invisible but strong bond that connects people. It is about kindness, a small light that can warm an entire soul during the coldest days. And it is about hope, though fragile, it continues to burn quietly amid the chaos of life. Perhaps these are just ordinary moments that each of us has encountered: a compassionate gaze, a gentle handhold, a timely word of encouragement. But it is precisely from these little things that people can rediscover faith, find renewed strength, and keep moving forward, even when the road ahead remains full of challenges. That early morning, the atmosphere inside Grandma Bay's small house was filled with warmth. The first rays of sunlight slipped through the wooden window frame, gently falling onto the old but always clean and tidy dining table. In the kitchen, Hoai Ca was bustling around, preparing a simple yet flavorful breakfast of glass noodles, their rich aroma filling the entire house. Despite her old age, Grandma Bay still made a habit of helping her children and grandchildren whenever she could. She carefully sorted vegetables, split scallions, and now and then reminded Hoai Ca to add a bit of ginger, a touch of pepper, little tips passed down through generations, which she had kept since her youth. Just then, Ha returned home. He had just dropped Tony off at school. The three of them gathered around the breakfast tray. The hot bowls of glass noodles steamed gently, fragrant with fried shallots and blended with a dash of pure fish sauce that Grandma Bay always kept in a clay jar. Laughter and cheerful chatter echoed, not loud, not noisy, just enough to warm each other's hearts in the early morning stillness. In the middle of the meal, a woman's voice called out from the front gate, gentle but filled with urgency. "Is this Grandma Bay's house? Please, may I see her for a moment? It's very important." Hoai Ca quickly stood up. Grandma Bay looked a bit surprised, but not at all annoyed. On the contrary, her face slowly softened, as if she was used to people seeking her out at unexpected times like this. The woman standing at the gate was a young mother in her early 30s. Thin, her face worn out with worry. She clutched her handbag tightly, her eyes red and swollen, yet still holding a faint glimmer of fragile hope. "I heard they said you've helped many people heal with herbal medicine. My son, please, help my son." Her voice broke and tears rolled down her cheeks. For a moment, Hoai Ca and Grandma Bay were all silent. The young mother explained that her son, just 10 years old, had recently been in a motorcycle accident. A spinal cord injury had left his legs almost completely numb. The hospital said the chances of recovery were very slim. Her family had borrowed from everywhere to pay for treatment, but there had been no improvement. "I don't know where else to turn. They told me you once saved people using forest remedies. Please, I'm begging you, give him one last chance." Grandma Bay sat still for a while, her eyes gazing into the distance. The wrinkles on her face deepened with thought. She had once been a well-known herbal healer in the region. Her whole life had been tied to the forest, to the leaves, to remedies handed down from her ancestors. But now, with her age and frailty, her legs could no longer carry her into the forest as they once did. "I can't go to the forest anymore, child." Her voice was slow, tinged with regret. The woman lowered her head in despair. A flicker of sadness passed through the young mother's eyes. But Grandma Bay didn't stop there. She turned to Ha, her quiet, gentle son, who always silently helped her whenever needed. "Ha," she said, "do you still remember the path to White Rock Creek? There's forest-grown tam that there. And at the foot of Lonely Stone Mountain, there's gam vine chom leaves and goosefoot root. Those are essential ingredients for the remedy to treat paralysis." Ha nodded. He didn't say much, didn't ask any questions. He was used to being sent by his mother to gather medicinal herbs ever since he was a boy, when their father was still alive, when Grandma Bay was still strong, when their home was a small clinic, always filled with patients. He understood this wasn't just about picking a few forest plants. It was about preserving a promise, an unspoken duty of compassion that his mother had lived by all her life. "I'll go right away, Mom. This trip may take a while, but I'll bring back everything we need." The young mother burst into tears. She fell to her knees, resting her head on them, whispering words of gratitude over and over again, as if no one had ever reached out to help her in such a quiet yet determined way before. Grandma Bay gently placed a hand on the young mother's shoulder, rubbing it as if comforting a desperate child. "No one walks through this life alone, my dear. If I can still help, I will. Not because I am someone special, but because I was once a mother too, just like you." Though the path into the forest was now dangerous and rarely traveled, Ha didn't hesitate. Within him, the image of the boy lying motionless in the hospital, though he had never met him, was enough to drive him forward. Ha reviewed the list of herbs, carefully noting down the use of each one. Grandma Bay reminded him of every detail: which areas were prone to landslides, where bees nested, and where snakes often hid. Her words carried not only medicinal knowledge, but also the invaluable survival wisdom of the deep forest. By late afternoon, Ha slung his backpack over his shoulders and set off. He hardly rested the entire day. The trek through the forest was longer than expected. The foliage was thick, and many of the trails had been washed away by the previous season's rains, slippery and treacherous. But Ha had known this terrain since childhood. He carefully followed every trace, as if the paths his mother once led him through had come alive in his memory. Sometimes he would pause beside a familiar boulder, his mother's voice echoing in his mind. Goosefoot root usually grows at the base of damp rocks near water. As for gamvine, remember to take both the leaves and the bark. That's where the medicine lies. The sky turned a pale gray as Ha gathered the last bunch of sham leaves growing by the rocky creek where water trickled gently. His shirt clung to his back with sweat, his feet caked in mud, but within him rose a quiet sense of fulfillment, as if he wasn't merely foraging for herbs, but carrying hope home for a fragile life. On the way back through the forest, he carefully retraced his steps. But his heart was clear. He knew that every footstep carried with it a silent promise. When Ha returned home, Grandma Bay was waiting in the kitchen. The moment she saw her son's figure appear in the doorway, she rose at once, her eyes lighting up, even though she had said nothing about the worry she had held in all day. "Did you get everything, son?" she asked, her voice low and slightly trembling with joy. "Yes, all of it, Mom. I picked the exact plants you told me. The leaves are still fresh. I kept them safe." Without taking a break, Ha went to the back of the house to get a knife and bamboo cutting board. Grandma Bay pointed at each bundle of herbs, quickly sorting them. Despite her age, she remembered every medicinal plant clearly, which ones were to be boiled for drinking, which were for external use, and which needed to be roasted to reduce their toxicity. She signaled for Ha to chop the tam that roots into small pieces and boil them with rainwater. Smoke began to rise from the kitchen, blending with the earthy scent of roots, damp soil, and the quiet fragrance of hope. Meanwhile, she carefully selected the best leaves from the cham gam and goosefoot bundles. She laid them on the board and began to pound them by hand, each strike steady, strong, and deliberate. She didn't want anyone else to do it. Though her hands trembled with age, her movements remained precise. With every strike of the pestle, she seemed to infuse it with belief that this medicine would work. Not merely because of its medical properties, but because of the deep faith of someone who had spent a lifetime healing others. When the herbs were ready, she wrapped each portion in gauze and gently applied them to the boy's knees. Now nearly lifeless after weeks of immobility, the boy was thin, his face pale from lying down too long, but there was still a trace of wonder in his eyes as he saw unfamiliar faces. Grandma Bay applied the poultices to each knee, then gently wrapped them with clean cloth. She turned back to the stove where the decoction was beginning to boil. Carefully, she poured the dark brown medicine into small cups, let it cool a bit, and handed one to the boy's mother. She lifted it, blew on it softly, and inhaled its scent. Her eyes sparkled with satisfaction. Give him 1 cup in the morning and 1 in the evening. Change the poultices twice a day. After 10 days, we'll see how he responds. Ha felt no exhaustion, only a deep, quiet sense of relief, like someone who had completed something important with no need for recognition. In that small house, under the glow of a yellow light, a quiet revival was beginning, full of faith and care. In this vast world, somewhere out there, there are still people, strangers with no blood ties, willing to help one another to care for a child they've never met, simply because they believe the world becomes a better place when someone is willing to give their heart for another.
Không ai nói gì nhiều, nhưng những cử chỉ nhỏ, một cái cúi đầu, một ánh mắt chìm lấy, một khóa thái xa đầu, đầy yêu thương đã tạo nên một sợi dây vô tình kết nối 3 con người. Họ không cần lời nói để hiểu nhau, tất cả đều hiện lên rõ ràng qua ánh nhìn, qua hơi thở và những phút giây bình yên hiếm hoi giữa bộn bề cuộc sống. Do bắt đầu kể cho Tony một câu chuyện bằng những hành động minh họa. Bàn tay anh tạo ra những hình con vật, chiếc lá thô trở thành con thuyền, trên sổ nhỏ hóa thành kho báu thiên giới trong khu rừng thần tiên. Tony thích thú, mắt sáng rực vỗ tay quanh mình cạnh ánh mắt anh không rời khỏi gương mặt con trai. Lúc này mình tràn đầy sự hồn nhiên khiến mà anh thấy sợ rằng Tony sẽ dần mất đi giữa sóng gió cuộc đời. Những giây phút ấy trôi qua, những sự giản dị và thanh bình, không cần ồn ào, không cần quá nhiều lời, chỉ là 3 con người đang tận hưởng thời khắc quý giá, nơi một đứa trẻ được yêu thương bởi 2 người đàn ông, 2 người bố, mỗi người mang một nỗi niềm, một quá khứ riêng, như chung một tình cảnh. Tony bất chợt nhìn cả hai, ánh mắt như muốn nói gì đó, thể hiện các cảm nhận về sự khác biệt, nhưng không thấy điều gì lạ lắm. Cậu bé không biết tên gọi chính xác của mối liên hệ này, nhưng trái tim non nớt của cậu lại thấu rõ tình cảm chân thành, phát hiện quanh mình. Trước khi giờ học kết thúc, Tony được cô nó gọi vào lớp. Cậu bé rất thích rời khỏi tay người đàn ông, nhưng vẫn không quên phải vẫy tay để nhìn nụ cười trên môi, vẫy tay nhỏ xíu. Thấy từng trái tim đô thắt lại, và mình cũng cảm thấy lòng mình dịu đi, nhưng cũng có thể san sẻ bữa phần.